Hello, good morning everyone from a very chilly Dartford this morning. It's 18th of February 2025 as I record this, and I've just been reflecting on the topic of health and safety, and this topic has been around for many decades. There's a conversation I had with a friend of mine, a senior friend of mine who's running a very large $1 billion plus project in the Middle East. And he said to me a good few years ago around the topic of health and safety, and how can we within the extractive industries being oil, gas, petrochemicals, food manufacture, pretty much any upstream activity, and the global supply chain that wraps all of that. And the thing I found most interesting, in this conversation, was just around the fact that we have a really big and rightly so important focus on health and safety at a physical level. So actually, how do we ensure we're working at height safely? How do we ensure that if the building's on fire that we can evacuate effectively? All of these things are really helpful acts of health and safety, and of course they're really helpful physically, they're helpful for your organization, etc. But when it comes to the health of the culture of your organization, or it comes to the health of the way in which you interact or you develop your business, to what extent is there conscious focus on health and safety of your culture, of how your people interact with one another, of the supply chains that underpin your business model? How healthy is that? Now, the reason I ask that is because just because you're making tens of millions of profit every quarter, that doesn't mean that you're healthy, and it doesn't mean that you're necessarily safe. So what does safety look like at a cultural level? For me, that is the ability to challenge the status quo. It's to raise alarm around a very real issue. It's to be able to start a conversation around the topic that's meaningful to you without feeling shut down or silenced. It is the ability to have self-determination within your role, to do something without asking for permission, to feel safe that you can do that, to do something without asking for permission. Now, it's an interesting thing, cultural, or I'd even go as far as spiritual health and safety within the workplace. It's very personal, right? It's very much an inside-out thing, but heavily influenced by the environmental conditions of which we're part, culture. So that's my curiosity this morning, is to what extent within your organization, within your clients' organizations, to what extent is health and safety at a cultural, leadership and even spiritual level? To what extent is health and safety prioritized within the organization that you work within or the organizations that you serve? And what's the impact of not focusing on the health and safety of our leadership approach, of how we interact, of the culture that we foster within our organization? I'm not on about just within your organization, I'm on about within the tentacles of the supply chain that your organization will without doubt be a part. Penny for your thoughts.